apparently you threw nonstop parties at your house.
I
Were your parents ever
I
home?
did. Well, no one would have liked me if I didn't give parties. So thank God there wasn't COVID.
Where were
then.
your parents?
They were older. They didn't.
They were asleep.
No, they were upstairs asleep.
Oh no! Just anytime they went to a party or out of town.
Oh,
It was
wow.
Animal House up in there.
Right.
Michelle, you little trollop, making out to boys to Freebird.
Well, you did too, so you're
I
a
did.
trollop.
I did.
Okay.
I made a lot of boys to Freebird. Well, it's a long song.
It is a long song.
You rarely stuck with one partner for the whole thing,
Well,
right?
at least it wasn't Inagata Davida. That's a little
Oh,
longer.
that you
Yeah.
could fit in the whole football team. Trust me, I did it.
Dear.
Put on the long version of Anegata Davida. I've only gotten through the offensive line.
That's funny.
Oh, little Catholic horse.
Oh, you're
okay.
funny, Stephanie.
He was doing the sports too.
Well,
Whatever. I spent perfectly good time with and perfectly good electrical tape.
It's
Let's
the
just
thought that counts.
teach the mother.
your iPad does have a very good camera, so it does pick it up.
Okay, it's the fun day. Bring in Trump's lawyers. Here we go. Hello, Your Honor. Dewey, Screw, and how? Where do we start?
I mean,
The whole evil clown car is just going to open up
Yep.
this morning, and here they all are. Okay. Wow. Trump's legal team plagued by infighting as they prepare. Oh, that's good. It'll all work out fine. Just wing it like you did the first day.
are they going to let Castor
just
and the guy
saying.
who doesn't like...
Listen to this story, Travis. I have one dream still alive. Donald Trump's legal team reportedly plagued by infighting as they mount their defense. That would be today. That'd be
today.
How soon?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
in
fine.
2 hours.
Yeah, you'll work it out. Trump does not want Bruce Castor. Why? What?
Aw, he's a little too oily.
He doesn't want Onion Belt. Meandering McOnion Belt.
I'm hoping for that today.
To speak much. Trump is like, no, don't speak. But other sources say Castor plans on taking an active role because he believes he's still in charge. Yes, go. Trump.
No, don't speak. Don't speak. Don't speak. No, silence, silence. Don't speak.
The angry leprechaun, the other one, who's that?
Shown.
Right. He might actually do that. He might actually physically
Yeah.
put his hand over
But
Castor's mouth. Just
Apparently, if it goes into tomorrow, Shown can't be there.
Right, the
Because it's the
Sabbath.
Sabbath. Yes.
Right, but they said, well, they don't need. They're only going to take like 3 hours. They have 16 hours. They're only going to take 3. A,
Right.
because they suck. B, because Trump's case sucks.
Right.
And C, because half of the it's like Nuremberg with half the jury is Nazis. So they've got this, and also they're getting help from the jurors. Which we're going to talk to Glenn Kirshner in a few minutes because you cannot get me Glenn Kirshner any quicker. Because I think isn't that even in a not real trial kind of illegal that Ted Cruz, who is already an accomplice and a traitor, is meeting, and Lindsey Graham, also an accomplice and a traitor, meeting, and Mike Lee, also an accomplice. Okay, they met with Trump's defense lawyers yesterday to plot strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this isn't a regular trial,
Okay,
though.
and 15
Yeah.
of them
They
at
will
least weren't
criticize
even
every
there.
process they can.
I'm sorry.
They will criticize every process they can. Every little thing they will nitpick at, and then they go and sit down with the
course.
legal team. That doesn't look bad. Come on, Pete. Come on.
And
That's
15
just...
of them weren't even there. Can't we? We have to talk to Glenn Kirshner. Can't they demand they don't get to vote if you didn't even watch? They weren't even there. You can't do that. If you're a juror, you get kicked off. You can't just not. I can't. I just can't with this party anymore.
Well, they broke the oath that they took at the beginning of this trial.
Democrats were, yes, they're breaking their oath. Don't even start. Democrats were brilliant.
Yes.
Oh my God, we're just brilliant.
Yeah.
Who is America's early warning system?
Black ladies.
Okay. Am I just saying, between my future wife, Stacey Plaskett, Stephanie Stacey Plaskett, oh my God, did you see the Attorney General of Georgia on with Rachel last night? Another fierce black lady. He is under criminal investigation already in Georgia. I can't. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Glenn Kirshner. Oh my God, between her and Letitia James and Stacey Plaskett, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Who runs the world? Who runs the world?
Girls.
Specifically black girls. Hashtag black girl magic. Okay. Yeah, because we have to talk to Glenn. We read his tweet yesterday. I'm like, yes, I agree with Trump's lawyers who keep suggesting arresting him and that this is for criminal prosecution. I'm like, yes, and we're improv artists, really. I'm
Yes,
like,
and.
yes, and yes, impeachment, and also this is criminal. So we'll talk. How could this not be criminal? Look at the case we've seen over the last 2 days.
Can we send Trump to a chain gang? I think that would be appropriate punishment.
I like it. Can I tell you my one dream I have left?
What? Does it involve Xanadu?
I think no.
No.
That's coming later. That's another black girl magic.
Okay, all right.
That is when Kamala Harris breaks another tie and does do the Xanadu headdress for us and roller skates. I feel like she's a good enough sense of humor that she would even just like tape something like that for us on her iPhone.
I think
maybe for like the Sexy Liberal 10-year anniversary.
We can ask. We can put it in the
Just
ask.
say, look, it's just a dream. You don't have to do it, but just do it. Just do it for us. Do it. Do it.
I'll bet you we have some animators in our audience that could actually put together a video of that happening.
Yes. Did you see Jill, what do you call it, our First Lady put little Valentine's hearts on the White House lawn?
Yep.
Hope, peace, unity.
Yeah.
It's like a loving TPing of the White House. It's very sweet. Where was I? Oh, my one dream I have left because of all the infighting and because they don't want the oily caster onion belt to talk today. I think we're going to get drunk, sweaty Rudy at the last minute. I'm just saying. What time is it back there? It's almost 9 o'clock. Of course he's already faced.
Yes.
And listen, how many attorneys make their own gravy? It's a plus.
He makes his own bitters.
Yes. He makes his own bitters for his drinks.
Just drips right off his chin into his drink. Boom. How convenient.
How drunk? It's only 9 o'clock there. How drunk could he be now?
He's his own spigot.
Pretty drunk.
He's fine
Still
before
drunk from last
He's
night.
fine before noon. Just go with Rudy.
He's only lubricated before noon. After noon,
if he doesn't get arrested for 2 other things like Ukraine and also Dominion voting before he gets to court, I'm saying he would be good. Entertaining. Did you see they finally caught Sasquatch? They finally were able to serve Sidney Powell with her papers for the Dominion voting case. Yeah. Why do I have to do everything? I had to say, how fast can she be? Just why? She's taking them like weeks to serve her with papers.
Oh, okay. Her
she's on the little.
longer.
She's trying to get away. She's on the little iceberg with Hermie. Just go. What?
Her steps are longer, though. So even though she runs slower, her steps are longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she can cover some
She covers more ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it turned out it was a Sasquatch sighting. Oh, there she is. It's hard to miss her. She's like 8 feet tall, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's kind of more like one of those tree people
woman.
from the Lord of the Rings.
A lot of talk about farm hips yesterday. I don't know how I brought that up.
She's sturdy.
All right. It's not as embarrassing as My Pillow Guy on Newsmax. Oh, can we listen? Can we watch? Come on.
Okay. Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then when I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations.
Okay, wait, keep going. Just keep going.
We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view.
And finally, okay.
Because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry.
Okay, Mike, can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please?
Did they have an actual cane? Like, did an actual cane come and like this, and you heard slide whistle?
Yeah.
And then that was, okay. Oh, Fernand, you know I'm just such a sucker for a pretty face. Good morning.
Merry Monday morning, Mama, and happy Impeachment the Sequel week. I'm so glad that we're here again celebrating the second impeachment of the worst president in American history.
Yes, me too. And congratulations on your new gig at MSNBC as a paid contributor. Hooray.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on board the NBC network family.
That's when I saw you first and thieved you from Joy Reid. Like, I must have that man. That's my man. And I just took you. So, Fernand, I swear, I am joking, sort of, but not really. I totally got the reasoning. So somebody tweeted last week, Amy tweeted, there's no need to subpoena him. They have an open and shut case. A subpoena would just allow him to drag the process out with months and months of litigation. Representative Raskin is handling this exactly right, which I agreed with. And then you said, let him drag it out. I want him sworn in under oath and dare him to lie and commit perjury, which will land him in jail where he belongs for treason. And I have to say, Fernand, the more that comes out, we were just talking about Lindsey Graham blocking Merrick Garland from getting in. They don't want an actual investigation of January 6th because many of them are implicated, including Lindsey Graham, in calling the Secretary of State in Georgia and part of this whole same crusade Donald Trump was on, right? And the more and more that comes out, I agree with you. Give it time to have a real criminal investigation of what happened, and he should not be above the law and not be able to testify like anybody else, right?
Nail on the head, Mama. And let me just remind everybody, lying to Congress is still a felony that could put you in jail. Just a simple act of lying to Congress alone. So listen, don't believe their protestations. They are terrified of this impeachment trial. They want a very quick 48, 72-hour approach here so that they can move on to the next issue, get it out of the news cycle, because this is an indefensible position, not just for them, but for the president. And as I said the other day, look, it's not Donald Trump that's on trial here, okay? Yes, he is the person that the spotlight is on, but it's Trumpism on trial. It's the Republican Party, or as I call them, the Q-Publican Party, and also every single senator in the House, in the Senate that's Republican, they're on trial too. So the more that we can make this a comprehensive investigation with witnesses and getting Donald Trump under oath, even if he exercises his Fifth Amendment right, which is a politically devastating thing to say, that's a good thing, and we want that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and the more stories I'm reading here, first of all, so now they're saying one of his lead defense lawyers has informed Senate leaders he's an observant Jew. So if the trial stretches past sundown this Friday, so he can't do that, or Saturday. So now this might be delayed anyway. And the other story from our friend Seth Abrams, I don't know if you've seen it, is federal prosecutors appear to be closing in on Roger Stone. New federal cases suggest Stone is an unindicted co-conspirator. Here we go again, who will eventually face arrest, bringing the insurrection investigation directly to Trump's doorstep. And this time, he can't be pardoned or his sentence commuted, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, all we need to do, by the way, Stephanie, is think back to the impeachment trial. I know it feels like it was 100 years ago, but it was really this time last year. Yeah. And think of all of the information that emerged as a consequence of the trial that was then used and scooped up and integrated directly back into the trial, whether it's Roger Stone or other elements. This is a massive conspiracy that happened here. And this, unlike the QAnon fringe conspiracy theorists, this is a conspiracy that we saw the world and the American people play out in sight with the attack on our Capitol. So I think they need to be methodical, and the more they take their time. If they want to stretch it out, that's fine by me. But we have to hold these people accountable, because not only is our American democracy being looked at from the world perspective, it's the rule of law that's also on trial in a sense. And if we get this wrong, we're going to be a much more diminished country.
Good morning. Every time I hear that song, I do my little Caddyshack gopher dance.
We need a gopher filter for you.
No. All right. Good morning.
I don't know why I thought of you because I thought, How much time do we have to throw into this impeachment? How many things do we still have time to throw in? Hugo tweets, President Biden now has access to the entirety of Trump's private conversations with Putin, including the ones he ordered hidden in NSC's top secret code word system to limit access. I believe you told us he can't hide these forever. I believe you said that to us. Did you not?
I did, indeed, because he cannot hide those things forever. Here's another thing. You can't really delete them either. The way the system works, it's not like computers back in 1981. All right. Now everything's kept on a secure, encrypted cloud. And so long as all those billions of little data bits can be reformed back into its original file, there's always a copy. So everything that they did that was electronic can be had. Even if it was manual and somebody scanned it, it can be had. You know, I think we said this right after the election.
Yeah, they said
everything's going to come out.
Yes, a former Trump administration official said they don't need our approval to see those records. Biden owns all the call materials. There's only one president at a time. It is a national security priority to find out what Trump said to Putin over his term. He told Politico, citing a national security official close to Biden, some things like what happened in some face-to-face meetings where there was no American translator or note taker present may never be fully known. Except I always thought we should subpoena the translator, the translator. I mean, I think it's that important to our national security, isn't it?
Well, that investigation, I'm sure, will come over time. But I know the Biden administration wants to now completely concentrate on coronavirus. It makes sense, but we can also walk and chew gum. I'm a big fan of letting the new inspector generals just get back into office and start scrubbing the complaints about what happened during the Trump administration, and then referring those things to the new Justice Department, should we ever get an attorney general, and let the Justice Department deal with it as it comes up.
Well, and I was heartened that Biden has begun firing all the U.S. attorneys under Trump. But except for John Doe, well, the one investigating Hunter Biden's taxes, because Joe Biden obviously is a straight shooter. He said, okay, continue that, and then also John Durham, who's investigating the origins of the Russia investigation. So what do you think's going to happen with that?
Oh my God! Like I said, I monitor right-wing communications all the time, and I read Parler and I read Gab and all the rest of their stuff. I get up at 3 a.m. to listen to this, and they're really upset with Bill Barr and John Durham. They thought that they were getting the Kraken before it was a Kraken, right? They thought that the Durham investigation was going to blow it wide open, and nothing. So of course Biden's going to let the Durham guy finish his investigation. All he's going to do is file his travel claims, collect his stuff up in a box and say, we found nothing. Same thing with the Hunter Biden investigation. They're straight shooters because they know they are not the Trump crime family. They don't have to sit around and commit crimes. And what they're going to find is simple. Hunter Biden pays taxes.
Complete opposite of the Trump administration, right? It's like the investigations into them. You're like, great, let it go. I mean, Trump did the exact opposite, got everything shut down that was incriminating to him and tried to open ones on his enemies. I mean, it's just, you're right. It's the exact 180, which as it should be.
Like how did Jared and Ivanka make $640 million as employees of the United States government?
Yeah, thank you.
That's over 4 years. That's something that you might want to take a look at.
Thank you. And we gave up so much to serve the government. We gave up so much money. It's like, oh, please. All right. So before we get to impeachment, what did I say yesterday, Travis? I'm dying to talk to Malcolm about this water thing. Because I was in New York. I lived in New York in Croton-on-the-Hudson, near where you live, during 9/11, and I remember, Malcolm, I used to hike and bike around the reservoir all the time, Croton Dam. I was like, oh my God, this is wide open. Anyone could get in here and poison the entire water system of New York City. So, and you said, you didn't predict this, but you said I did write several warnings on Russia remote seizure attacks that seem almost identical to the Florida incident in your Hack America book. So tell us about Florida because you're right, Iran and Russia have done this before.
Yeah, and that tweet was in response to some wiseacre who was saying, you're not claiming you predicted it. Well, I'm pretty good at the prediction game.
Indeed, sir.
Simply because I'm watching for this stuff. And in fact, I wrote a book called Hacking ISIS, where we discussed Iranian and ISIS's attempts to try to get into U.S. infrastructure, and were successful in some really rudimentary ways. But in my book, Plot to Destroy Democracy, we went over in great detail how Russia seized Ukrainian power plants, literally like this incident in Florida. So here's what we know about the incident in Florida. A small town in northern Florida had found that their water treatment plant, which was operated by computer, which controls all the chemicals that are released inside there, they found the operator literally saw someone taking control of his computer. Right. The cursors were moving. He was hands off on the console. Right. It was opening up chemical, valves to allow that ordered 1,000% more lye to be deposited into the water than what is normally done. Usually it's 100 parts per million. This ordered 1,100 parts per million. And they managed to somehow take control of the computer again after 3 to 5 minutes, and they shut down this command to dump this poison into the water. Now, granted, it was not a lot, but the fact is someone knew how to do it. Someone knew the software that they were using. They knew how to get to the control systems. They knew what chemical could be put in there that would create the most damage. And what's interesting is this occurred last Friday. They had the press release, they had the press conference on Monday. And, from what I hear from most of my cyber warfare friends, this is relatively easy. But it still would require someone who knew that power plant's computer system, that knew what kind of software they were using, and that knew what they were doing. That is an act of cyber terrorism.
Been trying forever. It's going to bring up so many daddy issues. I'm able to say good morning, former GOP Congressman David Jolly. Hello, David.
Hey, good morning, Stephanie. Great to be with you.
Great to be with you too. I have worshipped you from afar because
oh, come on. Hey, Stephanie, if that is true, why does my buddy Ferdinand Amandi have his own music, his own bumper, and I got nothing?
Don't fight. You're both pretty. Now, listen, we will jingle you. It's only your first time. But I joke you bring up my daddy issues, but my dad ran for, vice president with Barry Goldwater, was chairman of the Republican Party, was a Nuremberg prosecutor. He's been gone, David, since '83. But this is not only not Goldwater's party, it's not, the Arizona GOP would have to censure Barry Goldwater now, right? Along with Cindy McCain and everybody else, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Stephanie. And I think there's a nuance that we've got to pay attention to, which is the fights we used to see within the party, within the GOP, over moderates and conservatives, and could the party be a big tent party? That big tent conversation was had on the ideological spectrum, right? Is there room for New England Republicans, moderate Republicans, and Newt Gingrich conservatives? That's fine. We see that ideological conversation happen within parties all the time. Democrats had their own just after the election between the AOCs and Spanberger. What is different in today's Republican Party is they're trying to coalesce a big tent, not around ideologies, but around differing opinions on defense of democracy and on the fundamentals of democratic principles. And in that's where they're losing the American people. Now, I would say, unfortunately, they don't suffer from an electoral crisis. They're as competitive as they've ever been. They lost in November, but they're performing very strong. But they do suffer from an identity crisis that if they don't get their hands around this, I don't think they're going to recover from it. They can't expand the coalition from where they are now.
Well, as you know, Michael Steele brings up my daddy issues because my dad was chairman of the Republican Party. But you, as a congressman, my dad was a congressman for 14 years. And I mean, it is hard to, you actually said that. You said this impeachment presents what is really an existential question for the identity of today's GOP.
That's
the
right.
party will survive, even be competitive going forward. See, that's the part where I hate you again.
I hate it too. I left it because I don't want it to be successful.
David, when did you leave and why exactly? I forget the specifics.
Yeah, I left before the 18 midterms. terms. So look, I registered as a Republican at 18 years old, and to be honest, I was never.
That's not a lot of time in the light, David. Can I just say? Okay, but go ahead.
I will tell you though, I was never a good enough Republican, but it was always along these ideological fights. And so I pushed back against the Tea Party and so forth. As Trump emerged, Stephanie, in December of 2015, I became, at the time, maybe still the only Republican member to go to the House well and speak out against Donald Trump. Yeah. When he announced a Muslim ban, I went to the floor and called on him to drop out of the race. And the case I made to my conservative friends was based on freedom of religion argument and protection of people's freedom of religion. That was December of 15 when I was still in office. I never supported him while in office. I lost the GOP along the way. I got redistricted in what was otherwise a 50-50 race. And so I lost my seat in 16. I would have loved to see how that message in 16 would have played out in a truly competitive district.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to test that. I stayed on until, honestly, we were expecting our first baby. And I just knew before our baby was born, I wanted a clean break from a political party that I would have a tough time explaining to my daughter.
Are the little jollies, in fact, jolly? Or are they?
She is. I got to tell you a little jolly thing. Just before coming on, my studio camera broke down. So I'm with you on a laptop. And you know how it works in this COVID environment. The only place where I could find the right height for my laptop was on our baby's high chair. So I'm sitting in front of our baby's high chair on this laptop.
Says everything you need to know about your former party. That's right. They're all screaming from a high chair.
Yeah.
But the rest of your tweet is GOP's very identity rests on the behavior of today's Republican senators. Their actions will forever define today's GOP. And yesterday we only got one of them, but you know, David, at 60% almost for Donald Trump's conviction and not, being able to run for office before this trial started, I keep saying, don't expect them to do the right thing because it's the right thing, but don't underestimate their cowardice. If public opinion moves to such a degree and this trial is as strong as it appears to be from yesterday, what do you think? I'm a never say never gal.
Yeah, look, they're getting rewarded at the ballot box by continuing down this road. And so they're going to do the things that continue to get them elected. But in my tweet, when I said an identity crisis that will be decided by the behavior of today's Republican parties, I mean that in a very serious way. You know, it is easy in a partisan environment. We're always very reflexive. Even the work I do on TV and some of my fellow Never Trump colleagues, I say this about my friend Rick Wilson, but I always try to keep it in the John Meacham lane, not in the Rick Wilson lane, right? Rick's great at the outrage. I try to provide the historical context because I've worked with the House for 25 years. I do believe in a historical context, what the Republican senators do right now in this moment will define the identity of the Republican Party. Again, they will make the case electorally about that identity, but for Republicans to look the other way after the events of January 6th, where we know the elements of the case are there. The president laid the predicate with the big lie. He issued the invitation to come to Washington on January 6th, a date that Americans otherwise wouldn't have ever contemplated. And then on January 6th, he went to the crowd and said, no, now go to the Capitol with strength.
Yeah.
Those are the three elements of impeachable conduct. And if Republicans decide they're going to look the other way and wrap their defense around process, it's going to be a stain on the GOP for a generation.
Yeah. You know, I was just talking to, among others, Barb McQuaid and Malcolm Nance about this, just one in particular, indicted MAGA rioter Jenna Ryan now admits that Trump lied to her about the 2020 election being stolen. I bought into a lie, and the lie is the lie. It's embarrassing. I regret everything. And she was the one who said, I listened to my president who told me to go to the Capitol. I was displaying my patriotism.
That's right.
Again, I don't know legally, David, how they can use obviously all of these people who not just were screaming on video that we saw yesterday, but that are saying in court, Trump told me to go.
That's right.
But, also how many of these people are going to be rescued, like this woman, by their friends or family, or come back to reality, these QAnon people, to finally, because you and I are like, how can they not see this guy's a liar and a con man? But it seems like some of them are. I mean, granted, they're being prosecuted now. I mean, the irony are these are all the people screaming freedom, right? And they're trying to take your freedom away. Well, now literally they're going to lose their freedom. They're going to jail. They're going to lose their families. They're going to lose their careers. They're going to lose their freedom because they believe Donald Trump.
And Stephanie, this tide's going to be turned one click at a time, right? We're not going to expect our American culture to wake up tomorrow and have this mea culpa that, oh, how'd I get enraptured by Donald Trump and QAnon? But in terms of one click at a time, part of it is sending these people to jail, prosecuting them for criminal activity that they might claim they were innocent in getting sucked into, but sorry, you're an adult who acted with a rational mind to follow an irrational person. And then the other consequence that we saw just last week came from Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats against Marjorie Taylor Greene. The reason that was important was not a Republican Democratic move. It was because our FBI, going back to 2019, has said the conspiracy theory groups that fuel white nationalism are the greatest domestic threat we face right now. It's the conspiracy theory groups. So we're faced with this national security threat that Republican leaders have ignored. And what Nancy Pelosi did with the power of the House of Representatives last week is say, in 2021, the House of Representatives is going to push back on these conspiracy theory groups that our national security agencies have said are creating a threat.
Yeah.
It is an incremental move, but they are moves that we have to see continue to be executed consistently.